Hello and welcome to another edition of Breakfast Club from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Today I'm joined by Az and David as we approach the Gameweek 17 deadline. Az, welcome, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Yes, you weren't on the Scoutcast this week, but you had a good reason because you were moving house and so you've had all the things going on with that, but hopefully you've had time to
Yeah,
check
it's been
check
a
your...
lot of fun.
Yeah, so have you had time to check your team? And David, welcome, how are you? Hello, David?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Oh,
I am here, don't worry.
no, you are. There
You
was
got me?
there was a slight delay. It was fine. It was fine.
All right.
What we're gonna
Yeah.
do is we're gonna come back
I'm
to you,
here.
Dave. Yeah,
I think I'm on time with you.
you are now.
Yes.
Um, we're going to come back to you, David, because you've got a million and one things to do as well. But we're going to come back to you at 11:30 for the team sheets. But first of all, we're going to have a look at Az's team. So Az, I'm going to put your team up on the screen. I think it's the same as it was earlier today. So this, well, I know you were talking about making some ambitious moves, and I don't think you've made those moves. So what have you done or haven't you done, and what ambitious moves have you either turned down or attempted?
Well, I'm in one of those. I don't know whether it's the move affecting my brain or whatever, but I'm in a kind of my mind is just all over the place. So at the start of the week, I looked at the thing that's on the screen. And I was quite happy with it. I've got players like Hazard already in place. I've got Philip Anderson. I've got Kane. I've got Sterling. All the kind of big hitters that I want this week. But then I look at other players that I'm playing and I'm thinking, oh, I could really do with getting rid of some of these. So like Lacazette, he was a bad purchase last week, and it's probably for the best I wasn't on the Scoutcast last week, so I just would have moaned about him for I've been getting taken off at 45 minutes at 0-0. I mean, yeah, and then starts in the Europa League. So I'm not really too hopeful about him starting. And I think whenever you're actively playing Isaac's success, your team probably isn't optimal for the week.
Yeah, it's sort of the Wan-Bissaka of the forward lineup. When you're playing him, you kind of know that you're down to the bare bones.
Well, he's the Wan-Bissaka without any bonus points and probably less goal threat.
Yeah.
But he has got a great fixture. And actually, I was listening to the radio of the Everton Watford game, and he sounded to me like the kind of standout player from Watford. He was constantly winning fouls. He was getting the ball in dangerous areas and things like that. So I'm hoping that he can kind of take a bit of that form into this Cardiff game. But in terms of moves, I was, I've got the kind of the transfer that I'm looking to bank. But then I also thought, well, I could get rid of some of my problems. I could get rid of Lacazette, and I could get rid of Brooks, who's been playing sort of 60 minutes, and bring in Son, who I really want this week, and Jimenez, who has been, just racking in the points. And he's one of those players who I haven't owned all season, and he's cheap, and he just keeps scoring. So yeah, I'm a bit concerned about not owning him. But that'd be from -4. And then next week the fixtures aren't that great. You've got Son against Everton, and then you've got Jimenez against Liverpool. So it seems to be a bit of a 1 week transfer, and the fact that there could be rotation anyway. So I'm probably not going to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think when you were suggesting those moves, I was winding you up a bit, trying to get you to do them. Mind gaming you. Basically, knowing what you've just said, they are actually really good transfers in for this week, less so next week. And then also I was saying earlier in the week on the Fantasy Football Scout, we had a kind of a Q&A kind of question article and talking about transfer decisions, and my one was always, when I'm making a transfer, always thinking, who is the player I'm taking out? And I think sometimes people forget that the player they're taking out can actually score really well, and I'd be really reluctant to take Lacazette out, because what Emery was saying about him was that he was playing him in the Europa League not basically saying, oh, he's one of my B teamers now. He was saying, he's been out for a while, we need him to get basically match fit. Really, he was talking about getting him into rhythm. So for me, I think I look at that as a good thing. I think that he was playing in that game, getting some more minutes, getting better and fitter, hopefully. And I think he'll play. Yeah, I'd be very reluctant to take out Lacazette this week. I think that could really bite people who've done that. So I think you've done.
It's just
yeah.
Yeah, it's just the fact Aubameyang is is in such good form, and like the amount of price rises he's had over the last few weeks just shows how many people have brought him into their teams. And so if he gets the sort of striker spot against Southampton and Burnley, and I haven't got, I mean you haven't got him either, Joe. So I guess you're probably a little bit worried about him.
Well, yeah, I mean I've got, because I play the Sky game as conscientiously as I do the FPL game, and I got Aubameyang in that, and he's been my captain on most days when he's been there, and he's going to be my captain again tomorrow in the Sky game, and so I don't worry so much. I want him to do well, as much as it would impact on my FPL score. And I know that's slightly hedging, but it's just in my FPL team I can't quite get him in because I prefer Kane. I prefer Kane to Aubameyang, and if I preferred Aubameyang to Kane, then I would make that move, and I just don't. I just like Kane over Christmas. But so I'm okay with that. But I think when it comes down to Lacazette, he is, he's the second choice. I suppose it's like Sané to Sterling, for example. I can't quite afford Sterling, so I'm happy with Sané, and Lacazette's kind of, if you haven't got the money for Aubameyang, you go for that option. But yeah, I don't know. You never know. It's really hard to judge at the moment because he's been out for so long. So it's not fair to judge him. And maybe he is the better option.
I think what I'm kind of hoping for is that the few minutes he's played over the last few weeks actually works in his favour over the next few weeks. Because if you're talking about freshness of players, we're expecting kind of heavy squad rotation across all the teams.
Yeah.
And actually, the fact Lacazette hasn't actually played that many minutes, I'm hoping sort of works in his favour. It's just these next two games. I mean, he can be dropped for the rest of the season. After he's played Southampton and Burnley at home, they're just the two games I really wanted him in for. So taking him out for a hit before that, just seems like a bit of a waste of a transfer, a bit of a bad move. But maybe I'm just being stubborn. It's really hard to judge.
No, it is.
Stubborn when you're doing something, correcting a mistake.
I want to look at your captaincy now. Now, to me, Kane is the obvious pick this week. I'm putting up a picture on the screen now, something we put up on the Scoutcast, which was the Whipping Boys table. And these are teams that have conceded the most shots, the most attempts in the box, those types of things, and goals as well. Burnley, Bournemouth and Fulham are basically the Whipping Boys at the moment. So now you've got Hazard, who's got a good fixture against Brighton. You've got Sterling, who's got quite a good fixture, I think, against Everton. Then you've got Philippe Anderson as well. So why have you gone for Kane over all of those?
I think it's just the fixture really, and I'm hoping that Spurs have a bit of a bounce after getting that draw against Barcelona. And also I think he's probably the kind of the most nailed on player of those. I think if I had Son, I'd be quite tempted. If you look at the last few fixtures and points and stats and things, then Son looks a really good choice. But again, you've got the slight risk of him being rested, especially with it was Lucas Moura, wasn't it, who got the goal off the bench, Barcelona. Hazard's become a bit of a funny one for me because he was weeks ago. He was the one that I was going to get rid of when I was kind of shaking up all the rest of my team. I kind of look at my team now, and I'm really surprised that he's the one out of Salah, Aguero, and Hazard who's actually remained. Because he wasn't doing much, but he's actually become a bit of a differential now. I'm actually looking at quite a few other teams, and a lot of people seem to have taken him out. And I was thinking about this the other day. Hazard tends to do his best work for me when I'm kind of, I'm not saying no one's got. Obviously, he's still a ridiculously high player. I'm talking about in mini leagues, and things like that. And actually, when Hazard kind of becomes that kind of a little bit of a differential pick for me, he tends to do kind of his best work. And I think with Morata out as well of this game, and hopefully, a couple more games, if Giroud comes into the team or if Hazard, plays a bit more up front, then I think he could be a really good shout. Brighton are a good team at home though, so I'm not expecting that to be a massive victory for Chelsea. But you'd still think they'd win that, relatively comfortably.
No, I think you're right. I like Hazard this week. I'm actually worried about it. I think the trick with Hazard is you've got to get him before he comes into form because it doesn't last too long. He drops off again, and I think this is it now. I think he got some points last time out. On the assist front there, and I think he's going to be goals and assists this time around because he just performed so much better with Giroud, and I think this will be a Giroud game. I think Hazard started against City because it just fitted, and he was kind of matching like for like, both having false nines, and this way they can really go a bit more on the attack, and they'll have to at Brighton, as you say. But one thing I also think about is what happened when Chelsea visited Brighton last year, because Brighton were pretty good at home defensively last year, and then the likes of Liverpool, and then Chelsea rocked up, and that game was frightening to watch as a Brighton fan. Chelsea was so good. I think it was Willian and Hazard in particular. They just completely got the better of Brighton there, and I don't know. It's one of those psychological things. I don't know whether I'm, remembering that and just assuming that will happen again. But yeah, I can't get the image of that terrible defeat out of my mind. But yeah, I think
Chelsea. I mean, they were so good against City last week. If they play like that, then is Duffy still out, isn't he?
Yeah, yes, he is. Duffy's still out. So that's a major problem. Giroud v whatever backline they have. It's basically Duffy and Dunk are playing.
Duncan Balogun, I think.
Yeah, and they concede, don't they, David? They concede so many shots, Brighton. I know when you're looking at the stats each week, and they should be conceding much more than they do. But I think Duffy and Dunk, they're the reasons. Look at your bench now.
They're very good for CBI, those two.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, I kind of, I still kind of see them as a bit of a liability in the top flight. I think that's because of Dunk's ability to score own goals, which is quite nice. But they are actually really good. They're an awesome. They've got an awesome track record, put it that way. One last thing before we come to David with his team sheets and also revealing his own lineups. As I want to talk about your bench now. While we've been talking, we've had lots of people on the live chat saying, "Az, what are you thinking? Not only having Richarlison on the bench, but having Richarlison second on the bench as well." I'm
playing him now.
Oh, you're playing him now. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't realise that. I said, yeah.
Okay, rightio. Okay, well, let's put your wrong team up then. So we've got your wrong team up now. So what's the change then? Richarlison's come in for who?
Richarlison's coming for Wan-Bissaka. My theory last night was that Richarlison's probably not going to score and Palace might keep a clean sheet. And then I did a bit of digging into Palace's home form and records, and the fact Leicester are probably going to have Vardy back. And I just thought, Palace are awful at the moment. Yeah. And I'd rather have the midfielder playing up front. The reason why Richarlison was second, was because I thought if I don't play him, then I'm assuming that he's not going to do anything. So there's no point in having him even as first sub, But now I'm kind of coming around to the idea that he might actually get something from that City game. Hopefully he will. But yeah, I mean, my bench is. I'm happy with my bench overall. I mean, normally I've got kind of Success and Brooks and Wan-Bissaka on there, who are three at least playing players. I've had to call on them a few times and not really got too much from them. But it's better than having no one on there. Richarlison's in.
Yeah, no, I like your bench, because what your bench is it's not like a bunch of rubbish players. Some people's benches are like God knows what. Well, we'll see my team in a minute, and there's a couple in there who are a bit like that. People who are injured, not playing, completely out of favour, only play the last 5 minutes. What you've got is you've got good players that start. It's just they don't happen to have a good fixture this week. So that's a good position to be in, because they could nick some attacking points or returns in those tricky matches. But at the same time, so they're okay to bring in as well. But you can mix the team up and you can really maximise it. So yeah, seeing Lucas Dean there, rest him this week, rest him next week, and then you bring him back in again, and he'll probably just stay in your team, your first 11. Same with Brooks as well, because there's people look to those Bournemouth fixtures, didn't they, and going, oh my God, they're so awful. And they weren't actually. Some were awful, and some were quite good. I think this Wolves fixture's a pretty good one, to be honest. So it's why I'm playing Fraser. But David, can we come to you next? Do you have the team sheets?
I do. But how is my delay? Am I
You're fine now. We just got you. So let's get those team sheets out.
I did a sneak switch of network, so hopefully that's all worked out.
Okay.
I can tell you that there is a benching. There is a benching.
Okay.
Of a very big player, but we'll get to that. So Ederson in goal for Man City.
Yeah.
We've got Walker, Otamendi, Laporte, and Delph as a back four.
Okay.
We've got Fernandinho, Gundogan, and Bernardo.
Okay. So far,
Mahrez,
that's what you expect. So
Sané.
Sane?
and Jesus. So Sterling is on the bench.
No. No.
Typical.
I say no,
Yeah.
but I don't own Sterling in FPL, so I actually mean yes, hooray! And in my head, there's a massive party, ticker-tape parade, all of that. People are coming in through the door in my head with big crates of beer, celebrating Sterling's benching.
The only good thing about that is surely Sané misses out against Palace now and Sterling plays.
No.
Because Sané's played 7 in a row now?
No, he's brilliant. No, he'll never get benched, ever. Just like Harry Kane. They've got...
I think it comes down to Mahrez and Sterling tend to rotate with each other, but Sané can't rotate with anyone. I think that might be what it is. That's what it comes down to.
And they're severely weakened on that side when Sané doesn't play, because I think it basically, yeah, you're right. Mahrez is the backup for Sterling. So when he needs to rest Sterling, Mahrez comes in. Sané doesn't, but they've got a cup game next week, and that is when Sané will be rested. And they'll have something, I don't know. Who knows? You know, he's got a wealth of riches, so there's a variety of players that can play there, but not as well, which I think is okay for a League Cup game, and I'm sure that's what Pep thinks as well. So yes, David, we're going to come to your team now. Let's have a look. No Sterling.
Okay.
So, have you made any changes? The team that you put up this morning, have you made any changes since we've spoken?
I don't think I have, no. I made no transfers this week. I thought about maybe moving Richarlison on to get Felipe Anderson or maybe Snodgrass, because I am sort of lamenting my lack of West Ham players, especially considering that I could have got Chicharito last week and I went for Mitrovic. But I just figured holding off and getting those 2 free transfers banked, I'd quite like to use them maybe next week or just to kind of, ensure that I've got a team that's playing over Christmas effectively. It gives me a bit more power with the transfers to do that. And yeah, like ours, I kind of fancy Richarlison to maybe get something out of this game. Worth saying, actually, it looks like that Richarlison isn't actually up front in this game. It says, according to Everton's Twitter, that Calvert-Lewin's leading the line.
Oh yes, sorry, I
completely.
I was so gobsmacked by Sterling's benching, I forgot to do the Everton lineup as well. So yeah, do you want to run through that then?
I can do. So it's a slightly different formation. So it's 3 at the back or 5 at the back, depending on how you look at it. With Keane, Zuma, and Mina as a back 3. Ooh. Coleman and Digne either side of that.
Okay.
Sigurdsson, Andre Gomez, Bernard, and Richarlison in midfield, and Calvert-Lewin up front.
Wow.
But Richarlison being on the left isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I think that's his natural place, isn't it? So I fancy something out of Richarlison this week. And then the only other thing, just to kind of talk through, is
you're still there.
Yeah, I was just going to say I'm captaining Kane. A lot of people have started to. I'm getting some kind of following because of how often my captains come in.
Yeah, you're the 100% man. 16 out of 16
most people are
successes.
Don't break it this week, David. I've got Kane.
No, this would be the worst. Kane at home to Burnley if he lets me down. Cool.
Well, this is how I promote the Breakfast Club now. I said basically it's just find out who David is captaining and then just captain that player, because you will get returns. 16 out of 16. I've never had that ever. And I consider this an amazing season for me captain wise, and I've had 13 out of 16. 16, that's some kind of voodoo magic there. We need to be copying you, basically.
I put it down to the members area.
Okay. Yeah, no, good plug and very wise to do that.
So everybody go use it.
Yeah. So the rest of your team is very much, I say template. The template is kind of broken up at the moment because there's a lot of teams without Salah. For example, doesn't have Salah. Has Hazard instead. You don't. Lots of people with Sterling. You've gone for Sané. In goal, now I know you were, before we were coming on air, you were thinking about what to do in goal as well. You've currently got Fabianski there, Mr. Saves, but you were thinking of Patricio. So what have you stuck with Fabianski, and why?
Yeah, so I was torn because I really don't trust West Ham's defence. The only reason that Fabianski would stay in the team would be on saves. Of course, I have the problem of that Mitrovic is directly facing him. But then again, Fraser is facing Patricio, so it was a conundrum either way. Bournemouth not doing particularly well for attacking stats over the last 4 game weeks. They were basically bottom for shots on target and shots in the box. But I largely put that down to not having Wilson last week. And I basically said to myself, if I get an inkling that Wilson isn't going to start, then I'll start Patricio. If I feel that Wilson will start, then I can't see Wolves keeping a clean sheet, so therefore I start Fabianski. And as we were just talking before we came on, the thing with Eddie Howe, he's largely, whenever he said that he's hopeful a player might play, but we have to be careful, they tend to play anyway. So I feel like Wilson will play.
Yeah, I think so.
So that made my decision for me, Fabianski. Fulham will have loads of shots, so Fabianski can make some saves.
Yeah, I mean, coming to you, Az, because you've got Fabianski with Hamer, so you've got no choice. You've got to play Fabianski. But I've been banging on for a season or two about Fabianski. So how impressed are you with this wonderful save machine?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I got him. I don't like paying, I don't like paying anything for goalkeepers because you rarely see the. But I think De Gea last season and maybe Ederson this season are kind of the. They are kind of they did justify their price tags. Ederson is a good pick this year. De Gea was amazing last year. But really, I like when you come down to the 4.5 goalkeepers, I really do feel like it's just a complete lottery. Like, anyone could get, Wolves could get a clean sheet against City, you can get, Patricia gets 15 points, or, Fabianski making a penalty save the other week. It's just so, you never really know. When you've got a keeper like Fabianski who makes a crazy amount of saves, is often in the kind of bonus points, despite, I think he got two bonus points even when they conceded, a goal a few weeks ago. So to me, he just seems like the absolute standout pick for any goalkeeper under 5 million. And bearing in mind the fact that I think it's such a lottery anyway, I don't really want to rotate him with anyone because he could be playing a difficult fixture and still come up with returns. The good thing is, and the best thing about Fabianski, is that he just hasn't got any difficult fixtures. He hasn't had any difficult fixtures in ages, and he hasn't got any until kind of the new year. So, in a time when I'm getting so distressed, as someone on the chat said a second ago, I look distressed. I do feel a bit distressed.
If you just moved house, no wonder.
Yeah, it's pretty good to do that. But if I'm distressed with the rest of my team and making decisions, at least I've got one position where I haven't got to make any calls because I can just leave Fabianski in, and he's a man who can get saves, he can get bonus, he can make penalty saves. He's genuinely one of my favourite players in fantasy football because I just think he offers so much value for his price tag.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really regret. I went Joe Hart over him, anyway. But you make a good point about the 4.5 goalkeepers. They haven't been as good as usually. I mean, Burnley have really helped us out. And in previous seasons, we've had Foster when he was at, and Hart even when they were at Birmingham. If people remember about that far, Schwarzer at Fulham, David James at Portsmouth. And, these were teams that were conceding, but they were doing really well for saves and bonus. And this season, I feel it's really Alisson, Ederson really are probably the better ones. And I have thought about actually just scrapping one of my 4.5s and just spending a bit more, just for that reliability, I think, especially Liverpool at home. I mean, I've got Hennessy and Hart, and I'm not happy with that. And I don't think I'd be totally happy with Fabianski and Patricio either, really. I just don't think they're really delivering this season. This could be, looking back on it at the end of the season of the expensive goalies. Let's have a quick look at my team then. So there he is, Hennessy. I'm playing Hennessy. I'm not confident about this at all, but I'm more confident about Hennessy than I am Hart against Spurs. I found it looks like Jamie Vardy's going to play and start. So that basically end of clean sheet really for Palace. So I'm relying on saves, I think, there. The rest is pretty template. Well, my kind of template, if that is. So you've got Mitrovic and Jimenez up front and flanking Kane, who's my captain. I've already put the picture up about the whipping boys, and Burnley's defensive stats say to me, Captain Kane. He had a rest last weekend as well, so I feel safe. And I think this is the time of year where it's important to look at things like underlying stats and form and fixture. But I think for the captain, you've really got to focus on the player that you are most confident will actually start. So, for example, I've got Sané. I wouldn't have captained him this weekend, even though I think it's a good fixture, because I wasn't sure he'd start. And I think I'd be the same if I was a Sterling owner as well. So I look at those fixtures there and I just think, who's going to start? And that's why one of the reasons I captained Salah last weekend was because he had that rest before. So that's just something I and hopefully other people just look out for over Christmas. Who's just been benched? They could be a good captain next time around. Sterling, for example, has just been benched, so I'm pretty assured of a start, I reckon, next time out. My move was getting rid of Sigurdsson for Anderson. It was something we discussed on the Scoutcast. I think I'm going to admit I was wrong there. I had people saying, why aren't you getting Richarlison? Plays up front for an attacking side, and I was trying to get something over Richarlison owners. I spotted what I hoped to be a differential, and I just don't think I got the right one. I just think that Sigurdsson, I mean, the fact that Dina took that free kick, Sigurdsson could have taken that, could have missed it. He missed that penalty. He's missed a couple of penalties. So I wonder if Richarlison keeps trying to grab the ball off him as it is. So I wonder if basically he's going to just win that battle and he's going to become their penalty taker for a while, Richarlison there. And I think Dina...
Was his last penalty absolutely terrible though?
Could be, but I mean Sigurdsson's pretty bad at the moment as well.
Sigurdsson has become a kind of troll, which is so different to what he used to be a few seasons ago. I went for Sigurdsson over Richarlison at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Watched him get subbed at half time in the first match, and Richarlison went on and scored 3 goals.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get pretty much the same.
Yeah.
If you
I got Richarlison early on, and I benefited from those goals. And I just thought I was trying to be clever, really. And when it comes down to it, I was reading out a tweet from one of the followers, and who was saying, why aren't it just makes sense, and it does. So I'm taking an Everton attacker break for a couple of games, and I'm going to probably get Richarlison in. Look to get Richarlison in after the next couple of game weeks. Player I've got in instead is Anderson. West Ham attack is great. I got Arnautovic in for these fixtures. Got injured. I really want one of their attackers, and I just think he's great. But I think they've got other, Chicharito. I didn't have space up front. Chicharito's great. And Snodgrass is actually quite a good option. I think he's certainly going to get...
I thought about getting him.
I think he is a good option because for his price, was he 5.3? And I always think if a player can match or beat their price equivalent in points, so if he can get you 5 points a game, which is an assist, which is incredibly likely, then he's a great value, I think. Because if you stick to that rationale for the rest of your team, you're getting 100 points every week. So obviously you're never going to do that for all, but if you're doing that for some players. But yeah, Anderson I've gone for. I've just spotted him. Not that I've just spotted him. It's just I spotted an avenue to get him in, and other people have already had that. So he's in your team at the moment, is that right?
He is. Yeah. I bought him in last week as part of a -8.
Yeah.
Which worked out really well. Yeah, it's nice. I bought him in for Martial, so it's quite an easy swap. But yeah, I just think he's a fantastic player, and the goal he scored, I think, just shows the kind of form he's in and what he can offer. He's kind of like a Sané light version, playing for a much worse team, but he's definitely capable of big returns.
Goals, assists, and bonus. I mean, what more can you ask? And he's around 7 million. Perfect. David,
West Ham in general, there's just so many options now in the team. You've got Chicharito up front, Snodgrass, Anderson, then you've got Fabianski, you've even got Balbuena, who was like top of the shots of defenders at one point, who still looks good. So they're not a particularly good team, but they're in good form and got good.
I think they're really ideal bench players as well. Some of those you mentioned, Balbuena, reliable over Christmas. David, you were considering Anderson this week, but he's in your thoughts for next week and beyond?
I think so. Yeah, West Ham are the one team that I fear not having any players of, and it feels ironic to say that because it is West Ham. And please, no one tell my dad, because he's a diehard West Ham fan. I don't want him to know that I've been singing their praises. But yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried about having them because it's Fulham. Anderson get a hat trick this week. I think that could hurt my rank this week, not having any West Ham players.
I think it could. Now, there's something else happening this week. We have the first round of the FPL Cup, and I don't know if either of you have noted who you're playing. Now, I always lose the first round, and it's usually this week, game week 17, and so that means I'm not really hopeful of a good game week at all, because I always lose. And the guy I'm up against, so a bit of a shout out here to Mr. Howard Clark, who I am facing. Now I'm quite On paper, I should beat him. No offence to him, but he's ranked 2.2 million. This is his 9th season, and he's had 3 finishes below 1 million. But last week he got into the top 100,000, so that's good. That's better. But I usually have ghost ship teams, but he's actually active, and his team's pretty good. He's got Hazard as well, and he's got Aubameyang and Kane, and he's got David Silva, who's injured, he's made a transfer. So I'm really monitoring him, and he's made a move there. So I'm going to concede defeat already on my past knowledge. I don't know if either of you have noticed who you're playing. So Az, who have you got?
I've got a guy called Khalil Ullah, who ranks 1.9 million. He hasn't made any transfers. He made transfers last week, but I think he's missed the deadline this week because he hasn't made any at like 11:27.
Yeah.
It's always just random players that you would never think could hurt you that just pop up and score against in the cup. So he's got Højbjerg, Knockaert, and Glenn Murray.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking it's going to be a heavy Brighton win. And a heavy Southampton win with Højbjerg scoring some 40-yard, rocket from outside the area. So on paper, I should beat him. He's got those 3 players in his starting lineup, but you never do because weird things happen.
You never know. I just wanted to say that I just remembered I have made a change from my team. I've actually put Højbjerg as my first sub. I did have Wan-Bissaka, but I'm playing Hennessy. And the reason I put Højbjerg there, which is the reason why I think you will lose as well, because this guy's going to play Højbjerg, is looking at the, a variety of tables, but goals imminent table, Højbjerg's there. I mean, I'm thinking, what the hell? So top of that is Rondon with 14 attempts over his last 4, but just that 1 goal. Jimenez, same 14 attempts, 1 goal, so he's due. And then third is Højbjerg, 14 attempts, no goals. He's had 5 shots on target, which if I have a look at my other table of players who've actually been scoring, Aubameyang's had 5 shots on target as well. So
my distress levels are rising, Joe.
Højbjerg v Aubameyang down on the south coast. My word. So I don't feel confident enough to actually play him. But I have made him first sub, so
he's guaranteed. He's guaranteed to score,
and probably stay on my bench there. How about you, David? You noticed who you're playing in the FPL Cup?
I've taken a little bit of a note. I just want to echo what you guys have said. The cup, I always get dumped out by someone who shouldn't dump me out. Because last year I got knocked out by a guy who captained Bakayoko the week he scored like 14 points. Bakayoko,
amazing. This is a Bakayoko week.
Ridiculous. So this week, it could be. Højbjerg, possibly the new Bakayoko, you never know. So I'm playing Martin Amir. He's ranked 1.2 million in the world. So again, on paper, I should beat him based on the season that we're both having. He's got double Liverpool defence, which actually could come in, you never know. He's got Robertson and Van Dijk. He's got Ederson, Alonso, Bennett. He's got Salah, Sigurdsson, Torreira, Højbjerg, Aubameyang and Kane. So...
you're out.
Some similarities, but Torreira and Højbjerg, I'm looking at those 2 there. He's probably captain 1, vice captain the other.
Højbjerg. All roads lead to Højbjerg this weekend.
We're all out.
Yeah,
we're all out.
Højbjerg will stay on my bench with his brace. His 15-point return. He'll just stay on my bench like for so many David Luiz owners last week as well. I mean, that's not good at all. Okay, I think that's all we got time for. David, there was nothing else to mention, was there? Just checking.
So just one thing for people on the site. If you're still in any of the Fantasy Football Scout Cups, we've had some awful technical problems with the draw and the results this week, especially on the Public Cup. So we are, just as a late decision, we are taking Game Week 16 out of the schedule and we're just bumping all the rounds back. So Game Week 17, we're just pushing that out of... Each round is going to be 1 week later than planned, and basically this particular game week, we're not going to be able to factor that into the Cup. So apologies for any inconvenience that's caused people, but we just need to make sure that people know who their opponents are before they're playing them. So the Cups will resume next week, and we'll have the draw out on Tuesday or Wednesday. No,
that's when we're faced with these things, I think that's the wise decision to do, because it is important that you see who you're against, because there's a lot of people. I know one of our regulars, I think it's Wild Rover on the Fantasy Football Scout. He's very keen on cup competitions, much more than kind of league kind of overall rankings, and a lot of people will base their decisions on who they're facing. So yeah, wise move there. Can't be helped, and done the right thing. For now, David and Az, it's been a pleasure finding out your teams, and we're all Kane captainers by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So let's hope for the best and go Højbjerg too. David, Az, thanks so much, and goodbye.
See ya.